to Mysteries and Mimosas, and thank you for listening. I'm Max, and with me, as usual, is my favorite co-host of all time, Aria.
Hi, everyone. I'm your only co-host of all time, by the way.
That's true. I haven't found a second one yet, but I'm taking applications on my Discord server, and that's going pretty well.
Right, so we know that you won't get any, so that's perfect.
That's true. Well, thank you for doing the podcast with me today.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, who else was going to do it with you?
Oh, I'm just saying thank you.
Oh,
yeah, I'm just
you're
being
welcome.
kind.
Okay. Well, I never know for sure what you're up to, so.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to put something out there for our listeners. As you probably noticed, I like to give Aria a hard time on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
all day, every day.
All day, every day.
Yep.
I want to reassure everyone listening that Aria deserves every minute of my banter and then some.
That's also true. I probably do. I can be a pain.
Yeah, you can. The truth of the matter is we tease each other on a daily basis. Aria just doesn't have it in her to publicly harass me. Aria works full-time, maintains a clean house, takes care of all the bills, makes sure everyone is in and out of the house, the family's taken care of, and on top of everything, she's attending school full-time in an accelerated curriculum to benefit everybody in the family. Despite her terrible trivia skills, she's very intelligent, and I'm extremely proud of you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
This is a total surprise. I didn't know you were going to give me a shout out.
Yeah, it's your shout out.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, because last week's embarrassing 2021 trivia performance, I really wanted to pump you up because I think you'll do better this week.
I hope so. Yeah, I was feeling pretty bad after last week.
Oh,
I was a little embarrassed. That's like public humiliation.
Yeah, Aria's been moping around the house with her head down, sulking in her sorrows.
I have been.
Sorry. I mean, I tried to make them easy. I thought for sure you'd get Prince Philip.
Did I not get that?
No, you didn't get that one.
Okay. Just a reminder, today's episode is a Mystery Monday episode, which means this is a short episode highlighting a case which doesn't have a lot of attention or information. So before we get started, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Mysteries and Mimosas Podcast, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube, and we're starting to grow our TikTok account.
Yeah, I'm actually having fun with that.
Max is doing a great job on the videos.
I do my best.
No, you're doing great, because he had no idea how to do it at first, and he
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Taught himself how to do it, and he's been uploading videos, so you gotta go check it out.
Well, yeah, I try. And as promised, I've created something special for everyone. Aria now has her own Discord account, which she will most certainly share my loneliness, because I don't think anyone will talk to her on Discord either. Search up Mimosa Aria. Send her a message, encourage her to become better at trivia, or just stop in and say hello.
Okay, so it's already created, or we are going to create it?
It's already created.
Oh, okay, so by tomorrow I'll have more followers than you.
Oh, well,
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I totally think that might happen.
If you really want to help us out, please give us a good rating, click subscribe, and spread the word so we can continue to grow this podcast together.
Yeah, no, kindness costs nothing, but neither does being mean. So, yeah, Either are free.
I don't think so. Being mean does cost something, I think.
Energy.
Yeah, and just, do you really want to be the mean person?
No, I didn't say, it's not about me.
No, I'm just saying, I think, when you're mean, that just, doesn't that cause you to lose sleep? If I was mean to someone, I would lose sleep at night.
Yeah.
So it costs that.
Okay.
But not everybody
That's
is
fair.
that way, I guess. So if you're just mean-spirited, you're a mean person, then I guess it doesn't cost anything.
That's true. See, that's all I was trying to get at.
Okay. Sorry, I had to analyze that.
That's okay. All right, well, let's get started. Today we have a heartbreaking case for you. One I hope gets answers very soon. You know, as we get older and settle down with our families, we raise our children with the assumption that our kids will outlive us, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's the hope. Mm-hmm. We bring them into this world with the hope that we can teach them and mold them into productive, law-abiding members of the world. I mean, that's really the goal. We all have our own parenting styles. Everybody parents different. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, we hope that we grow old enough to kind of watch them find their place in the world by finding good jobs, settling down with their families, and hopefully we will be here long enough to see them take care of us, right? When we're old and decrepit, recording awesome podcast episodes.
Oh no,
from the old folks home.
Yeah. that's gonna be you and I. When our kiddo is like, I don't, you guys, it's too much. You gotta go. We're still gonna be in our.
Oh yeah,
nursing
no, this
center.
is
Like we're gonna be in one of those places where we can share the room together still and record our podcast. I think that's gonna be us.
yeah. Well, that's the hope. I mean, I might if we're in a nursing home, I might request my own room, so I don't have to deal with your snoring. That's my guess.
Whatever. Just so everyone knows, I don't ever snore. It is the opposite.
So here's a funny fact about us. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus like this, but in the middle of the night, Arya will kick me thinking that I'm snoring when it's actually the bulldog at the foot of our bed.
That's true. That has happened.
And every time I'm just so
bad,
unaware, I just wake up and say, I'm so sorry.
I know.
And then I go back to sleep.
But then the next morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, it wasn't you, was it? And
No.
you're like, no. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's just like, I'm in a, I don't know how to explain it. I'm still half asleep, I guess. And
Yeah.
all I can hear is snoring. So I just automatically blame you because it has been you for so many years.
Sure. Well, actually, since we're on the subject, Arya actually woke me up one time and said, will you please stop breathing? Like, I don't know what's going on there, but I can't just stop breathing. I mean, one day I will, but
It's loud sometimes.
not on command.
Sometimes your breathing is very loud. That's what I meant by that.
I'm
Can you
very
stop?
embarrassed that you're putting my business out
You
there.
stop breathing so loudly. Not necessarily snore level, but it's like I'm a pretty light sleeper, so I guess
Yeah, that's
any
true.
little thing bugs me. But
Well, let's get into this. Today's episode, we're going to focus on a New Jersey mom by the name of Sue Quackenbush. Sue is a young 63 years old. She's a mother of three who's been through an extremely tough time since she lost her first son, Eric Quackenbush, to suicide on Christmas Day in 2015.
oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, super sad. And as if that wasn't hard enough, just 10 months later, Sue lost another son, her son Michael, when he was involved in a fatal vehicle crash in Florida. And that's not the worst of it. Michael was a Marine. He had just returned from Afghanistan when he passed.
This poor woman.
Yeah.
Jeez. Both
Yeah.
of her sons.
Within a year.
In less than a year.
And who knows how long Michael was deployed in Afghanistan at that time. You know, when's the last time that she
Right.
saw him? I'm sure she probably kept in regular contact with him, but two sons
Still,
within a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So after she lost her son or both of her sons in that relatively short amount of time, Sue was left with her daughter, 37-year-old Danielle Lopez. But everything changed for Sue once again when Danielle was reported missing.
Oh my gosh.
And this was just
poor
last month.
Woman.
Yeah,
That's
of this year. On April 13th of this year, 2024, Danielle was last seen on security surveillance leaving the WaWa gas station off of Route 72 in Vincentown, New Jersey. Danielle's car was later found disabled on Lost Lane Road in Penn State Forest, which is only about 12 and a half miles southeast of WaWa, or the WaWa gas station she was at.
So it was found disabled, but it didn't say like why. It just wouldn't start.
No, there's super limited information, which is why I think this is a great Mystery Monday episode, because there's not a lot out there because the police are keeping this pretty quiet.
Oh, okay.
So Penn State Forest is a 3,366 acre park, mostly made up of wooded forest. And I think it's important to mention Danielle told her family she was going on a camping trip just a short time before she went missing, but authorities have publicly stated they believe Danielle's disappearance is suspicious, and they're asking your help, the public's assistance, to help locate Danielle. According to an article by the Daily Mail, Sue was asked why she was talking about Danielle in the past tense in one of her interviews, to which Sue said this: "The reason I used my daughter in the past tense in my statement is because police have reason to believe that harm has come to her."
Mm-hmm. So they have some kind of evidence, whether it's in the car or in the area.
Yeah, for some
she's
reason,
hurt.
they believe that something ominous has happened to Danielle. The New Jersey State Police has released an image of Danielle, security footage of Danielle exiting the WaWa, and a photo of her car, which we have shared on our website. According to a news article by People magazine, Danielle was with someone and they were camping. It also looked like Danielle was content when she was leaving the WaWa, but there's no information publicly available yet to indicate who Danielle was with or if police have identified anybody as a suspect or person of interest.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If she went camping by herself or was with someone, or if her mom knew who she was going with.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those cases where they have to keep that information super, confidential in order to make sure that the integrity is maintained because for whatever reason, they know stuff, obviously. They told Sue that something is wrong, and that's why Sue is talking in the past tense.
Right.
Whatever that is, I don't know, and we will know eventually when those details are released, and we are going to do a follow-up when we find those details. But I just think that it's super peculiar that she likes to camp. She's going camping. I kind of wonder if Sue knows who she was going with, or if she just, had met somebody, if this is just somebody new or known to her. We don't know yet. But I think that obviously police probably know quite a bit. I mean, with the technology today, with missing persons, now it is I don't know what the cell coverage is in Penn State Forest, but I would imagine they'd be able to do some, an emergency ping on her cell phone. And actually, the Kelsey Smith Act was passed in New Jersey on January 29th of 2010. And So a while ago. And if you're not familiar, when we covered Kelsey Smith's episode, her parents, Greg and Missy, got on and they've done a phenomenal amount of work getting Kelsey Smith's Act passed, which essentially is whenever a person goes missing and police believe that they're in danger, or if there's some sort of nexus to believe that if they don't act immediately to find them, they can compel the 3 major cell phone providers to provide, pings of their location. And they work diligently on this law to get it passed, and they're trying to get it passed in all 50 states, and they're super close to getting that done. But at least we know that it was passed in New Jersey in 2010. And so I would imagine that they probably were pinging it for some time, and they haven't located her. Maybe they've located her device.
Right. Just because they haven't located her doesn't mean that they haven't found her phone somewhere.
Perhaps the phone got turned off at a certain time. And like I said, who knows how the coverage is in that forest. But either way, there's a lot of information that the police have that they're not giving to the public yet. And there's a very particular reason for that, because they don't want to jeopardize their investigation.
Sure. And this is very early in the investigation. This case isn't even 2 months old yet.
No,
so
they're
very early still. And
right.
So, who knows what information they have that they just haven't released yet.
Yeah, like I said, this is a short episode because it is Mystery Monday, and we do like to give some attention to cases that people might not know about. Again, her name is Danielle Lopez out of New Jersey. And her mom, Sue, describes her as a sweet, creative, loving daughter who was a vibrant light in Sue's life. Danielle is a kind, caring, and very family-oriented person, which, Mom, Sue, knows that this is uncharacteristic for Danielle to be gone for so long. And maybe Sue knows more than, what she's allowed to talk about, but for some reason she doesn't obviously have that good feeling.
Yeah.
Because of what police have told her. So... that's the episode today. And, my heart goes out to Sue because, like I said, you want to outlive your kids, and you lose 2 within a year. And now your daughter, your last child that you have to be with you until you pass this earth, is now missing, and you don't have any answers. You don't know where she's at. You don't know if she's okay. You don't know if she's missing on her own accord. Obviously police think that it's suspicious, and she has a reason to believe that, she's talking about her in the past tense. So Sue obviously has a reason to believe that Danielle's no longer here. Let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope that Danielle comes home and that she's reunited with her family. But
Sue is just so strong, because I always say, I don't know what I would do if something happened to my child, because, that's my whole world. That's my heart. And she's already lost 2 out of her 3 children, and now 1 is missing. I don't know how you go on after that.
Yeah, and I remember one specific thing that Kelsey Smith's mom, Missy, said. She goes, you don't want to eat because you don't know if they're eating. You don't want to sleep because you don't know if they're sleeping. And, Kelsey was found relatively soon after she was missing. Not soon enough, obviously, but Sue's going on a month now, and I can only imagine she probably can't eat because, Danielle's, she doesn't know if Danielle's eating or sleeping. And how do you carry on as a parent not knowing what's going on with your kid?
Exactly. That's got to be even worse she lost her two sons, but she knows,
Right.
she knows what happened. She knows, she was able to have a memorial service. She knows what happened, right? But Danielle now is just missing. But I think it's so strange that this poor woman has 3 children, and all 3 of them, like 2 of them are gone and 1 is missing. Like the odds of that happening have to be, I don't know. I don't know what the statistics on that would be, but for someone to lose all 3 of her kids, that's
Yeah, and in separate individual
right.
incidents.
Right.
It's not like there was a car crash and all 3 kids
Sure.
perished in one,
or
tragic,
like
unexpected
a house
incident.
fire, or
Sure.
you hear things about that, and those are tragic, of course. But like, yeah, 3 different sets of circumstances. Like the boys were in relatively like within a year of each other, but now several years down the road, now your daughter goes missing. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
and I'm not an expert in the stages of grief. I'm not even familiar with what the stages of grief are. But I can imagine when you lose one son to suicide and you're going through those stages of grief. And I remember that Missy talked about, well, they don't tell you that you might revisit other stages at different times and kind of start cycles over. So I don't know, who knows in 10 months what Sue was going through with her stages of grief, whether she was starting to accept it and move on, and, probably not in 10 months, but who knows what kind of mental place she was in at that time when she lost her other kid.
Right, exactly.
I could imagine that after, that happened in 2015, we're talking 8 years later or 7 or 8 years later. I would imagine that there's at least acceptance and some sort of, moving on and carrying on with your life and getting into a new routine. I'm sure that she thought about them every day or thinks about them every day. But then, when you get in that complacent part of your life where you just feel like, okay, everything's starting to go back to normal, now this happens.
Right, because this is like 9 years later or so.
Yeah. Did I do my math wrong?
Oh, no. What did you say? Sorry.
I said 7 or 8.
Yeah, you're right. Like around 8 years or so. But either way, yeah, grief is such a personal process. It's different for everyone. So you never really know where someone is at. And I always encourage people. I hate so much when I hear someone say, well, it's been like 5 years. You should probably move on. You should not still be in this state 5 years later. You shouldn't still feel this way. And that's not our place. It's not anyone's place to ever say where someone should be at in their process. That's their personal journey. And I think it's important to remember the only thing we can do for people in those circumstances is just be there for them. That's all you can do. It's not helpful at all for you to try to tell them where they should be or how they should be feeling. You got to validate their feelings and be there for them, in my opinion. And yeah, I feel so bad for Sue in these circumstances. And
yeah, and I remember one of the episodes we did, a victim or a survivor said, we lost friends because they didn't know how to interact with us. They just stopped coming around because they didn't know how to console us or what to say. And I can understand that feeling to a point, because you do want to be there and you do want to support them, and maybe it might be uncomfortable for you, but what's even more uncomfortable for the receiving end of that, the victim of that, or the survivor of a homicide, is that they probably really just need those people there to support them.
It can be, as simple as just sitting with them. You don't have to say anything, but just having somebody with you so you don't feel so alone can be really important.
Yeah, or, you could do just a random act of kindness and just say, hey, I got you a gift card, so dinner's on me. Mm-hmm. But anyway, not to get too far off topic.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Danielle?
So Danielle is described as 5 feet 4 inches tall, 135 pounds, with brown hair and green eyes, and Danielle also wears glasses. Danielle is known to frequent the Brendan T. Byrne State Forest in Pemberton Township and Willingboro Township. If you have any information about Danielle's disappearance or have any information about where Danielle might be located, please contact the New Jersey State Police Missing Persons Unit at 609-882-2000.
Yeah, and one more thing too. I know that when I was pulling this episode together, and I was looking at various news articles, one of the other numbers, which we didn't include in this, is a task force for human trafficking victims. Typically, in law enforcement, we'll put that out there as another method to get information. I don't necessarily think that it always means that they believe that the victim is being human trafficked. I think that's worth mentioning because if there is another source like a tip line or something, and maybe the, New Jersey State Police Missing Persons Unit works closely with them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're being human trafficked. But in this case, maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought I would throw that out there.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that because that can kind of be confusing, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So, thank you for listening. And what do you have for us? You got anything to close this out?
I don't. Just make sure you check us out on our website, mysteriesandmimosas.net.
Yep. Why are you questioning it?
I was like, wait, is that right? Sometimes I get confused with all the Mysteries and Mimosas podcast, or is it Mysteries and yeah, sometimes I just...
Oh, you could just find us. Yeah, just Google it. mysteriesandmimosas.net. That's our website.
Yes.
And I will have pictures of Danielle leaving the WaWa, and a picture of her car that was located disabled. I'm still curious why that was disabled or how that was disabled.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious about that, and I'm curious about who she was with.
For sure. Okay, where else can they find us?
On all our social media pages. Which is? On Instagram at Mysteries and Mimosas Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook.
Yes. And
YouTube, TikTok. We're all over the place. We're
Discord.
Taking over the internet.
Yeah.
Don't Mimosa forget. Aria.
Yeah, don't forget. Please, even if you don't use Discord, just please add me.
You're sounding desperate.
I am, but I just want to have more followers than you. Yes.
Well,
please.
All you need is one or two, actually.
No, you have one, I would have to have
yeah.
two. So 2 listeners out there, just, you don't actually have to communicate with me if you don't want to, but, just add me so that I can show Max.
Show me what?
My 2 compared to your 1 followers.
So you're going to have 50% more than me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what percent more. It could be 1% more.
As long as you win.
Right.
You're terrible.
This is actually why Max was talking about how I deserve every bit of his
harassment,
banter and harassment. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again for listening. And as always,
stay tuned for our full episode on Thursday.
Cheers.
Cheers.